Hey guys, how's it going? We're gonna do a little bit of programming. I saved up our requests today so that we could try and fix that up. So this isn't going to be the most interesting stream, but I kind of have to have the stream going to make this. So we're gonna do it. And if you wanted to watch, then that's great. All right, so I need to start. Nope. A new update. Well, I guess we'll do that. I guess we will do that. While we're waiting, how did the market turn out? Ooh. Oh. Well, that's interesting. They built them up and then let them down. Ouch. That's ugly. That is a super ugly move at the end of the day. Man, I'm not quite sure what to make of that. Hmm. Trump signs Defense Production Act order requiring General Motors to produce ventilators. Yeah. Hey, Anthony, how's it going? How have you been this week? I haven't seen you. Uh, 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 uh. No. Winston, hi, fancy meeting you. This is a treat. I just put a load of clothes in, and I'm settling down to watch your program and your program. Well, we're just going to be programming, but we're gonna fix up the text to speech thing. So, well, let's do it, shall we? Change log. What changed? Yeah, nothing interesting. Good. It's nighttime in Paris. How's the virus doing it? Because I was looking at a thing and I was looking at it was like number of infections per million people, and it was actually surprisingly high in France and Germany. I was like, whoa, they got a real problem over there. As much as everybody tries to make it seem like they don't. It's 10 p.m. I remember when I was a kid, I would hang out in this online community, and there's this guy that was from the UK, and he would play with us all night, and that guy literally was like not sleeping. Good morning, Adeptic. Anthony or Paris. Yeah, my wife really Paris because we can fly anywhere we want, but I don't think that now is like the best time to go there, is it? All right, let's see here. Oh yeah, that was some stuff that we say we probably don't need anymore. And this was it stops getting live chat messages at a regular interval. Okay, so I think here, I think I can do a get chat. You know what? There was a little article that I was using to do this before. Let's go find that. Okay. YouTube Live API node. It was like one of those Medium articles. There you go. I think it was this one. Was it this one? Yes, it was. Dun, 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 prepare the venues, project, listen. There was, what is the name? I want to know, what is the name of the thing that sends? Read tokens. Oh, okay. No, that's now track chat messages. Yeah, that's the live chat messages. Adeptic, I can explain, Seth, what to make of the meltdown in the last 10 minutes. Please do. I don't understand what caused that. The emergency keeps asking volunteers. Soon we should hit the top of the wave. Okay. Is your medical system going to become overwhelmed though? Okay. Adding our own comments. This is what we want. Insert message equals message text YouTube on live chat messages insert. Uh, Hold on. Well, let's copy this whole thing. I don't think that these ones, like these, get chat. Yeah. Response. Await list. Yeah. Okay. So, I think that it should be async send message message m or what how do you say what the I think you just give it a name, right? Okay. Message. Mm-mm. Eduptic says the SPX option chain. Oh, if you check out the open interest in the SPX options expiring today, they would have had to cough up $257 million if the SPX closed at 2,600. Wow, really? So, so somebody was trying to smack it up there, and then they decided to smack it down at the last second to save their position. That makes sense. Because I mean, it happened in the last. So does they come back over here and I go to CNBC? Do they have anything? I can see Trump signed the Corona bill, the relief bill. Mm-mm-mm. It's a little disturbing to me if it was all just options, though. You know. On the other hand, the SPX could have been driven down to 2570. Then they would have only had to have coughed up 104 million. Ugh. Interesting. I remember looking at Wall Street Bets, and there was a lot of people with puts on that down to like 24.50. There was somebody that had like $75,000 or something on it on 24.50 puts, and I'm like, I don't know if that's a should. on Friday, for this Friday, I'm like, oh really? Like, is that really the smartest thing? I don't know. Okay, inserts. YouTube off. Oh, I guess I have to pass in off. Or no. I can do this dot off, right? This dot off. Snippet. Type message. I think I do it like that. Or we could do message text. Insert. So will it just send it right then and there? Not sure. The way that they had their code was doing it as like a service thing, right? So. Mm-mm. Now, if you keep in mind that all the folks writing the options on SPX also write them on SPY too. Well, of course, yeah. SPY closing at 260 would have meant they'd puke out 220 million. Sure, but isn't there somebody on the other side of that would also have an interest in moving it, you know? Isn't that why we usually get pegged? Well, I think you just do that, but for some reason I'm not certain about all that. Okay, well, I guess the worst I can do is save it and run it and see what it does. There are almost no cost to close the SPX. Oh, really? Huh. Okay. So right away it's complaining about something. This dot off. Unexpected token dot. Oh, you know what? We had that in this one too, didn't we? Const auth equals this dot auth. And then we just called this auth. Okay, 158. Did I get too many? Missing. Oh, there was an insert here. Like that. If you had 200 million coming straight out of your pockets, would you not use a good chunk of it to nudge the indexes down? Hey, well, yeah. Oh, hey, look, it totally ran that time. Okay. Run 8. So I liked that part. So hopefully that part works. So let's write the side on this one. If commands 0 equals star bang info, then anyways, that is my story and I'm sticking with it. They don't have to send all the sales, all the stop orders that are in the book would help them out. They just needed to knock them all over. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of things happening like that before. I mean, I guess you're kind of admitting though that you kind of have difficulty proving that that's exactly what happened because you can't prove that it was that person that did the orders. But the options is a good reason for it to have moved. Still, that's an awfully big move. That's an awfully big move, don't you think? Does the microphone sound okay, by the way? Yeah, I think we're okay. I was looking over there. I was like, that can't be that very good. But no, I think we're okay. IO on connection. No, that's not it. YT. So I think that we do YT dot send message, right? Send message. This is a test. We just try it like that. The microphone sounds fine. Your son is so loud, though. You should hear him when he's actually being loud. Oh my gosh. He yells so loud. Node.mon app.js. Well, it was 2:30 for me. It was 3:30 in New York. You were banking on it at 12:30. Oh wow, good job then. Okay, so let's see if I do info. Does it do it? Aha. Uh huh. Yeah, he's not paying attention at all. It's so funny how many parents have terrific channels and their children never tune in. Oh, it says it actually tried. It actually tried. That's good though. Um, because the live chat ID is this dot chat ID. I think. Hopefully that works. YouTube ready. Now it'll pull all of your comments here. 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000, 4, 1000, 5, 1000. Okay. Info. Insufficient permission request had insufficient authentication scopes. This error originated either by throwing inside of an async. Oh, did I? I only gave it read permission, didn't I? Hey, thank you for that info, Adepting. Okay, let's kill this. I need to check dashboard. I'll bring this over here. Google API dashboard. Bob Bayer says, "What are you doing with this code project?" So this is the, excuse me, this is the code for our text-to-speech robot. And what I'm trying to do is make it so that if you type info or some sort of command, that it will tell you how to use the accents. So I have to check these off, these credentials. Here's the TTS bot URL, URI. I do remember something in all of this that had to do with a read write permission, because it's saying to me, or did it say it? Request had insufficient authentication scopes. Scopes. Maybe it was somewhere up here. Token, authorize, pull out the token, get a new one. Scope. Here's an app. Maybe if I edit, maybe it's in the app. Profile, open ID. What if I add a scope? What are the scopes I can add? Text to speech. Manage your YouTube account. View your YouTube account. Manage your videos. Oh, okay. Wait a second. YouTube Live API. Okay. What do they call it? Live chat messages dot insert. Explorer. No, that's not it. YouTube Live API inserts. Live broadcasts insert. That's not it. What it was though. It was live chat messages. Live chat messages insert. That adds a message to a live chat. API supports the ability to insert text messages only. Authorization. This request requires authorization with one of the following scopes: auth/YouTube or auth/. Okay, so I'll add both of these to it. Use of this API scope will be restricted until it is approved. Save. Says submit for verification. Okay, well, let's just see if it'll let us do it. See if it behaves differently this time. Request had insufficient. Let's see here. Unverified warning, security checkup. Oh, you know what I think we need to do? I think that that's correct. I think that, let's kill this again. Yeah. Workspace, node, bot, backend, right? Where does it save it? There's somewhere in here I throw it to a file, right? Token stored to token back. Token dir. Token dir is a home. Oh. Wait a second. So is it in my directory? Let's see. This PC dot credentials. Aha, there it is. Editor with Notepad. There's the scope auth/YouTube read only. So if I just delete this, I deleted. Should come up and it should ask me to go to a URL. Good. And then, yeah, just keep that in the editor. This right here gave me a little code. I think it's just that. I think it's that bit. No, that didn't like that. But it was trying to give me a read-only scope again anyways. Um, that's weird. How did I do this before? Because I didn't change that part of the application. Let's see here. Escape, unescape tool, maybe? Mm. No, that can't be right either. Callback code. See what is for. Hmm. Hmm. Well, here it gave me another one. So I wonder if I just turn off word wrap here and I can compare them. Maybe it's just that part. Malformed auth code, huh? Man, I wish I could remember how I did this correctly the last time so that it was easy. Maybe if I do it in Chrome? Hmm. And I tried. Oh, I started from the G. I probably need. Is it an HTML code? The %2F? Solidus. So it's it from here. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Oh, that's interesting. I don't remember how I did this. Let's just delete these ones. I think that this should be. This is supposed to be a slash. It'd be like /y, like that. I didn't do that last time. I grabbed it a different way. Hmm. Were you on camera last time? We could reference an older video and watch how. You know what? That's actually might be one way to do it. Okay, so now it's pulling everything through. It still says that we had insufficient. So if I come back here to this, yes, reload, still is read only. Hold on. Maybe when where did I put it? This one. Maybe, so it's not that. Maybe it's here in the settings. Maybe we need a new ID and secret. Well, it's the same secret so far. Maybe it's not there. Scopes. Oh, here we go, right there. Ah. Oh, what if I just do slash auth slash YouTube like that? Mm-hmm. Well, it seemed to take it that time. Let's see if it grabs all of the messages. Request add info. Oh, no. We have to go back and delete this thing still. Users credentials. Delete that credential. Rerun it. Call this page. Oops, it didn't call. It didn't copy it. There we go. Authorize. Go to TTS bot. I understand. Allow. Ha. Oh no, that's interesting. It's not. It's not. It's putting the dash in there for me now. Okay. Oh. It did it. Did you see it? I think Wynn's the only one watching. It did it though. Sweet. Okay. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Okay, so now we can come back. I had over here, was it? Pretty happy. Yeah. Huzzah. Okay, so if you type, oh, it'll be over in here. App. So let's type accents. Accent choices. Save. Okay. Oh, did it already? Yep. Okay, cool. Makes sense. Now it should see that. Come on. Come on. Hey, there you go. Wait, there's a Sweden F1? What's the Sweden F1 sound like?
Speculator Seth says hello there.
That's not that great. Let's read this message that Win put in earlier.
Speculator Seth says it's so funny how many parents have terrific channels and their children never tune in.
It does sound Swedish. Oh, man. Okay, so then I think I should make another one that would be if commands 0 equals set accent. And how are we doing that? Message, receive message, if it's a super chat, split it up. What is the
Winston's
clip?
mom says, say Cellulamour, tout Donner, tout sacrifier sans espoir de retour, Albert Camus.
No, you have to put it. I don't have that one in. I can add it. Let me add it. Hold on. Google TTS. Where is that one? That's not there. It's. Let's close that one. Here we are. It's going to be something like that.
Winston's mom says I was playing with sexy French robot voice hoping you might think she had turned English into French.
Well, we could just try and add all of them. Have you seen that Cardi B video where she's like, coronavirus? It's been stuck in my head all day. Okay, so first I want to pick one. See, the reason I have it set up like this is because Francois, Canada, Francois, France.
Google Cloud Text-to-Speech enable developer to synthesize
You verrez pas? Oh, there's so many.
Google Cloud Text-to-Speech enable
Okay. Voice B is pretty deep.
Google Cloud
Winston's mom
Text-to-Speech
says
enable
none. I have
developer
not
to
seen Cardi
synthesize
B. I will go Sestla Googling.
natural sounding speech with sans plus voices, available in multiple languages and variants. It apply deep mean.
Okay.
Google Cloud Text-to-Speech enable developer to synthesize
Google Cloud Text-to-Speech enable developer to synthesize natural sounding speech with 100 plus voices, available in.
Okay. We'll do F. WaveNet. F. Down here, view documentation. Listing all supported. Reference. Supported voices and languages. There we go. What is it? What is the French? French. FR. 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 WaveNet F. I mean, eventually, I'm just going to be forced to add all of them, aren't I? But that could get too complicated. Okay, so wait, gotta save it. Unclick that. Oh, it didn't like that. What did I do wrong? There we go. Save. I need to just leave this over here. They read that one too. Interesting. Request contains an invalid. Oh, that is that one the one that it didn't like?
Speculator Seth says accent choices: Russia, Russian, Ukraine, China, Germany, F UK, M UK, F Japan, F Sweden, Findium.
Whoops. Wrong one. It's this one. Oh, because it's FR over here. That's why. That's why it's not working. That's why it's not working. Okay, it says ready. Takes it a little bit too long to pull them all back down. Okay. That's funny. Still? And you guys hear that? Helicopter. That one should work.
Winston's mom says, "Can you guys hear that helicopter?"
Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh, how many times will it go? Oh my gosh, that one was the worst. That is fantastic. That was great.
Winston's mom says that's fantastic.
Right? Okay, so this one, that right there is wrong too. The Sweden F1. How did it do it before? I'm so confused. FR. 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 WaveNet dash F. I don't understand. Well, let's do it. Let it. Oh wow, somebody like super spammed our server. Banded. Okay, back to this. Oh, I already redid it. Okay. Why doesn't it not like that one? Am I using the wrong dash? Like, should I copy it from here? Like this? French? That's the same. It doesn't, it says that there isn't a French F. It says that the French F one doesn't exist.
Avec Google Cloud,
Avec Google Cloud, vous bénéficiez de notre infrastructure.
See?
avec Google Cloud,
Avec Google Cloud, vous bénéficiez
But it's definitely there. Oh, I had F and we want E. E. Durr. I'm so dumb when. We'll have to introduce the helicopter from Germany on Monday. Right, that's so funny. Oh, man. Okay, where's the one that you were saying in French, though? Here it is.
Vinstansmon says no, I have not seen Cardi B, I will go cest levi googling.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. We could add, so here's this supported languages. I should copy and paste this into here. Okay. Now back to this. I had in here app accent set accent. Oh, I had it in like a file, didn't I? Where is the part where it actually uses the accent? Super chat event. There's the clip art. Where is it actually used? It must be over in here. Export, no. Is it in? I don't need that anymore, and I don't need that stuff anymore either. Actually, ignore that. No. No. People. Ah, here it is. People. Hmm. I need to do something so that when I do that, that it doesn't try the save thing every time. Let's see here. What will do? Sorry. JavaScript export object to file. JavaScript node export. Mm, mm. Now Node.js will find log.js. Oh, where did it get that from? Oh, can I do it like... Okay, hold on. So if I put people, if I take this and I cut it out, and then I come over into a new file and I put them in here like this, and then I save this as voices.js. I think, sure, we'll put it in here. And then I come in here into synthesize and I say require dot slash voices.js. Oh my, win. And then I save that. Does it work? It's going to say it a bunch of times, isn't it? Okay, let's try reading it. Should read it in my accent if it still works. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, it did do it. Unexpected token colon. The president is speaking now? Is he really? Oh, is it just his press conference? Wow. We'll go look. We'll go look. Task force meeting.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing
Oh, I hate this. I always it forces me to watch the ads if I. Yeah. It's so annoying. It won't let me skip them because it can detect the ad killer thing. So I have to use this. Three, two, one. Oh wow, they allow. Oh, it's Fox News. I was like, they allow comments on this.
Components of the armed forces. This will allow us to mobilize medical, disaster, and emergency response personnel to help wage our battle against the virus by activating thousands of experienced service members, including retirees. We have a lot of people, retirees, great military people. They're coming back in who have offered to support the nation in this extraordinary time of need. And they come back in, they don't say how much. They don't say, what are we getting paid? They just want to come back in. It's really an incredible thing to see. It's beautiful. This afternoon, I also signed into law $2.2 trillion in urgently needed relief for our nation's families, workers, businesses, and Americans of every race, color, religion, and creed. And the $2.2 trillion goes to $6.2 trillion, depending on need. So it's the largest bill ever signed, and not just emergency relief, but of any kind. We've never signed a bill of that magnitude. And, you know, incredibly, it was 96-0 in the Senate, and it was essentially the same thing in Congress. They did it very quickly. In the House, they did it very, very quickly. So if you look at Congress, what they've been able to do, the House was voice vote, I guess they would call it. And something like that rarely takes place. And,
Speculator Seth says
96
accent
to nothing in
choices:
the
Russia,
Senate
Russia, Ukraine,
for
F,
the
China,
largest
China,
bill
Germany, F,
in the
UK,
history
M,
of our
UK, F,
country. That's
Japan,
pretty
M,
good.
Japan, F, Sweden, F, India.
And I want to thank Republicans. I want to thank Democrats for coming together for the whole of the nation. And this is a
Or do we
great
use people?
thing, a great victory. This is going to save companies that are incredible companies, but that are going to need some help because of what happened. A month ago, they were outstanding. They were having the best year they ever had, and then we got hit. And so we'll help them out. It's thousands and millions of jobs. It's millions of jobs. And I just want to thank everybody for working so hard. And that includes the people standing with me right here. The legislation extends a vital lifeline.
Speculator Seth says accent choices: Russia, Russia, Ukraine, F, China, China, F, Germany, F, UK, M, UK, F, Japan, M, Japan, F, Sweden, F, India.
The bill is small businesses. They're really they're the energy. They're whatever you want to call it in terms of our nation. They push. People have no idea how big a factor. Peter can tell you the small businesses are in this country from an economic standpoint.
Is he going to read
from a
those two
job
messages I
standpoint.
just told you?
Winston's mom says when they discuss amounts of money in the
expand
hundreds of millions and
the
now
unemployment
trillions, it's
benefits for
almost too
workers
big to
very
comprehend.
substantially, and direct
Money like
cash
that does not
payments
even seem
will be
real.
going to American
Well, when it's a
citizens,
company's, when it's a whole country's
This
balance sheet.
legislation also provides a massive increase in funding for hospitals, for the
I guess it didn't
disaster relief
read.
fund,
I
and
didn't click that
critical
one.
supplies, including masks, respirators,
Come
and
on, I just clicked
pharmaceuticals
it.
of all types. And speaking of pharmaceuticals, as you know, we're working on vaccines. We're getting some
Should
good
show the
response,
message
and
here
we're
that it's reading.
working on therapeutics and cures. And we have some very interesting things happening. This afternoon, Apple launched a new tool created
So weird.
in
Maybe
partnership with
this
our
window
task
is
force, the CDC, and FEMA.
messed up, and I just
Any
need to-
individual who is concerned that they might have download the free COVID-19 app on their iPhone and answer a set of simple questions about their symptoms.
Speculator
and risk
Seth says foo.
factors.
Okay.
It's getting to be a very modernized system. Indeed.
So
They'll soon receive HHS recommendations on what to do next, including whether they should get tested or not. And again, we only
Need to
want people
read
to get
about what it
tested
is
if
that I
they-
wanna
if
do.
we think they need it. In a few moments, Secretary DeVos and Secretary Perdue will discuss new partnerships with the private sector that are providing meals to millions of students while schools are closed. They've both been incredible, the job they've done. I appreciate them very much. We're grateful for the assistance of Niran Shodhari, CEO of Panera Bread Company. They've been so incredible to us, and to the people of our country. And Denton McLean, chairman of McLean Global Logistics, and they've joined us. They're on stage with me. They're going to speak. Throughout this ordeal, I've been awed and inspired by the American people more than anything else, more than anyone else. Americans of every walk of life have followed the guidelines, shown incredible compassion, and sacrificed greatly on behalf of their fellow citizens. I want every American to know that their selfless and heroic actions are saving lives, and I want them to know, and I've said it before, that I'm very proud to be their president, very proud of the American people. My administration is actively planning the next phase in an all-out war against this horrible virus. We're now testing nearly 100,000 patients per day, more than anybody in the world.
It's over in
And we've
Southern
now,
section.
as of even a couple of weeks
Must
ago,
be
tested
in
more than any
the,
other country in the world. And our capacity continues to grow. Widespread surveillance testing will allow us to monitor the spread of the virus, and we're doing that quite accurately. And Deborah and Tony that, and coordinate with the states to contain new hotspots as they arise with a targeted, fact-based, and data-based approach. It's all data-driven. This surveillance testing will soon enable us to publish updated guidelines for state and local leaders. We want every county and region in the country to have the on-the-ground evidence that they need to determine the mitigation measures that are right for them. Each location is different. Some are very, very different. Some are day and night.
Oh, here it is.
Some are in great shape, and some aren't in
socket.
great shape. And we'll be able to have
Synthesizing
very accurate
message.
information very shortly. We already have a lot of that
Synthesize.
information. America's bravely battling this pandemic through cutting-edge science, medical innovation, and rational, deliberate, and determined vigilance. No effort will be spared in winning this war. We're going to win the war. Hopefully, we're going to win soon and with as few lives as possible lost. You see what's going on all over the world. You see the lives. You see Italy. You see Spain. You see all of these countries going through so much, going through such hell. And we're all in very strong communication. I can tell you our professionals are dealing with them every day. Many of the countries, so many countries, but many of the countries we're dealing very directly and closely. And we're going to be in very good shape in terms of certain equipment that's very hard to get, very hard to manufacture, and at the right time we'll be distributing that equipment throughout the world to other countries. Boris Johnson was asking for ventilators today. As you know, Boris he's tested, unfortunately, he's tested positive, and that's a terrible thing. But he's going to be great. I'm sure he's going to be totally great. But they want ventilators. Italy wants ventilators. Spain wants ventilators. Germany wants ventilators. They're all calling for ventilators. Well, we're going to make a lot of ventilators, and we'll take care of our needs, but we're also going to help other countries. So I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank our great American citizens, and a lot of incredible things are happening, really happening, and it's too bad. I was saying before, we had the press conference when we had a signing ceremony when we signed the largest bill in our history. And I said, think of it, 22 days ago, we had the greatest economy in the world. Everything was going beautifully. The stock market hit an all-time high again for the over 150th time during my presidency.
Where does that come
And the world was looking good. And then we got hit by the invisible enemy, and now you have countries all over the world reeling. But we're winning it, and we'll be bigger and better and stronger than we were even before. And we will also have apparatus in place that works. We won't have broken systems. We'll have incredible systems. So if this should happen again, and hopefully it won't, but if a thing like this should happen again, we'll be able to handle it very much more easily. So with that, I'll take a few questions. Steve, please.
Tell us a little bit about these negotiations with General Motors. What were they reluctant to do, or was it a debate over cost or profits?
Well, it got to be a debate over cost. We don't want to think too much about cost when we're talking about this. This is not cost. I wasn't happy where General Motors built plants in other locations over the years, not so much during my term, but they built a lot of plants in other countries. I won't name the countries, but you can imagine. And so I didn't go into it with a very favorable view. I was extremely unhappy with Lordstown, Ohio, where they left Lordstown, Ohio in the middle of an auto boom because we had 17 car companies coming in, and then they were leaving one plant in Ohio. I love Ohio, and what happens, that became the story. Not that all these plants are moving in, but that you had one plant they were leaving. And frankly, I think that would be a good place to build the ventilators, but we'll see. We'll see how that all works out. But so I wasn't too thrilled, and then we thought we had a deal for 40,000 ventilators, and all of a sudden it became 6, and then price became a big object. But Peter Navarro is going to handle that, and Peter will do a very good job. We'll see. Maybe they'll change their tune, but we didn't want to play games with them. Yeah, President?
Mr. President, 2 questions for you.
So let's see what happens
state
if I
quarantines
do
and the
that.
other one on the search for treatment. The first one, over the last 24 hours, governors in multiple
Hey,
states, including
wild.
Florida, Rhode Island, have issued quarantine orders for travelers coming from
The
other
quarantine
states.
orders?
Quarantine orders, yeah, and they are intercepting people on highways, at airports. They say this is at the recommendation of your
Okay.
administration. Is that true? And if so, why doesn't your
Well, I think I'm
administration
going to
just...
let Tony speak to that a little bit later.
I should
but,
do
we're
something
being
so
very
that when you
strong
reload
on
it, it just
quarantine.
doesn't
We're being very
reload
strong
all of the
on
new
people
comments.
not leaving, especially certain states, other states where they have less of a problem. I mean, you're hearing constantly about people leaving New York and going down to Florida. And New York obviously is a hot spot. And that's why we're building all those hospitals in New York and all those medical centers in New York. So we'll let Tony answer that. But specifically, you have to understand.
fs.append is
we're
not a
playing
function.
games.
What?
John?
Mr. President, if I could come back to the
Oh.
invoking DPA. This morning you tweeted about it, and I'm told it was coincidentally, not long after that tweet, Ventec and GM announced that they had reached an agreement to, at their Kokomo, Indiana plant, which is a clean facility that makes electronic equipment, produce up to 10,000 ventilators a month, with the first ones to be delivered in a couple of weeks. So why the need after that to invoke DPA?
It wasn't after, it was before, and we just were not getting there with General Motors. We weren't getting there. We were getting there with a lot of other companies, and we have the people that are doing it for me in the room right here, and we can talk to you later about it. But we have to get these people on board. We're not looking to get into a big deal on price.
I
We're
think
not looking
that
to be
then this
ripped
one
off
I
on
should
price. We
use
don't want
right
prices to be double, triple what they should be. So General Motors, we'll see what happens, but now they're talking. But they weren't talking the right way at the beginning, and that was not right to the country.
So he's saying that they wouldn't cooperate, so that's why he forced them to do it. That's
30 or
interesting to me.
40,000 ventilators, yet today you basically federalized General Motors to produce tens of
Well,
thousands. What changed?
I
Did
think
something
there's a
change?
very good chance we won't need that many. And I think, frankly, there's a great chance that we're not going to need that many. But you know what? There are a lot of other people that are going to need them. We have countries all over the world that are friends of ours, and we will help those countries. We're in a position to do things that other countries can't. So we have sort of an interesting position. We can make them because we're going to be
That
making over
argument
100,000
must be
pretty
the.
quickly.
Oh yes, okay.
So we can make them. And if we don't need them, John, that's okay, because we can help Italy and we can help UK, Boris Johnson specifically. I mean, when I say, how are you feeling? And the first thing Boris said to me is, we need ventilators.
The surplus will be
Oh,
sold overseas.
absolutely. We're not going to be keeping her. All over the world they want them, and we're in a position to make them, and other countries aren't. Okay?
Mr. President, if I first can follow up on that, Governor Cuomo had said 30 to 40,000 ventilators is what he needed. He based that on the experts that were advising him. What are you basing your assessment that he doesn't need that many on?
Well, if you look, and I think you can ask that question best of Deborah, but I think their estimates are high. I hope they're high. They could be extremely high. We're doing even hospitals based on pretty high estimates. You know, I'm doing them anyway. And as I told John, if we do not need them, a lot of great people all over the world, we can help them live. But I think his estimates are going to be very high. We're going to see. Don't forget, we sent thousands of ventilators to New York, and they didn't know they got them. Then we sent thousands of ventilators to New York. They have a warehouse, a New York warehouse in Edison, New Jersey, which is an interesting thing. And we sent them to Edison, New Jersey. They were in the warehouse, ready to go, and New York never took them. So they knew they were there. So we have to get people lined up. But we've given them, and I'm not blaming New York. Look, this is something
Interesting that he's saying this.
that nobody's ever seen before. But I'll tell you what, the federal
He's saying they
government's done a
sent them
hell
and
of a
they
job.
didn't even
So
know
we
it. I
sent
didn't know that.
thousands of ventilators to New York, and they didn't know about it at the time they were
No.
complaining. Thousands. We had 2,000, and then 2,000, and then 4,000, and they were going there in large numbers. And then before that, we said many thousands. We want to have so many that we do have more than we need because we can send them to other great countries, and other countries that have been our friends, and they'll never be able to do it themselves. Yeah, please.
Some of the governors are not appreciative of what the federal government's done, and you've suggested that some of these governors are not doing everything they need to do, like that these governors are at fault. Can you be specific? What more in this time of
Well,
a
I think
national
we've done a
emergency
great
should these
job for the
governors
state
do?
of Washington, and I think the governor, who's a failed presidential candidate, as you know, he leveled out at zero in the polls. He's constantly chirping, and I guess complaining would be a nice way of saying it. We're building hospitals. We've done a great job for the state of Washington. Michigan, all she does is she has no idea what's going on, and all she does is say, oh, it's the federal government's fault. And we've taken such great care of Michigan. You know the care we've taken of New Jersey. I think if you ask Governor
that
Murphy
is
of New
correct.
Jersey, how are we doing? I think he'd say great. I think he's a Democrat. Governor Cuomo has really said we're really doing a great job. And I saw the news conference where he was thanking the people from FEMA, the people from Army Corps of Engineers this morning. I mean, they built a hospital like in 3.5 days. And it's a big hospital in the Javits Center. And they're building medical facilities in different parts of New York. And Governor Cuomo's been appreciative. But, you know, a couple of people aren't. We have done a hell of a job. The federal government has really stepped up.
What I'm asking is, what more specifically do you want the governor of Washington?
All I want them to do, very simple, I want them to be appreciative. I don't want them to say things that aren't true. I want them to be appreciative. We've done a great job. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about Mike Pence, the task force. I'm talking about FEMA, the Army Corps of Engineers. There's no country in the world could have done what the Army Corps of Engineers has done and is doing. Now they're going in and building they're going into hotels and renovating hotels. That should be for governors to do. That should be for states to do. We have the Army Corps of Engineers so teed up and so stocked up, and they're really psyched, and they're incredible. And there's no games with these people. They're in there screaming, get it done, get it done. There's not like sitting around taking it easy. These are workers. These are incredible people. So I think the Army Corps of Engineers, when somebody, for political reasons, wants to blame, I view that as blaming these incredible people. Nobody's ever seen it. I don't know if you've been to the Javits Center. Now, I've seen it. I would love to go there, but with all that we're doing, we will be tomorrow at the hospital boat. We have this incredible hospital boat. It was supposed to be ready in 3.5 weeks because it's under maintenance, a big maintenance contract. We were able to get it done quickly. We were able to stock it up to the top, and it's leaving tomorrow at 2 o'clock. It's leaving Virginia. It'll be in New York on Monday, weeks ahead of schedule. I think even the media, the media and governors should appreciate it. And I have to say, the media's been pretty good and really good, except for a couple. And with them, it's just political. How's Trump doing? Oh, well, I don't know. Let's blame. Because we have done.
It says that it doesn't exist, but it definitely does.
So it's the words they're saying that you're concerned
I
about.
think they should be appreciative. Because you know what? When they're not appreciative to me, they're not appreciative to the Army Corps, they're not appreciative to FEMA. It's not right. These people are incredible. They're working 24 hours a day. Mike Pence. Mike Pence, I don't think he sleeps anymore. These are people that should be appreciated. He calls all the governors. I tell him, I'm a different type of person. I say, Mike, don't call the governor of Washington. You're wasting your time with him. Don't call the woman in Michigan. Well, it doesn't make any difference what happens.
The governor of Washington?
No, you know what I say? If they don't treat you right, I don't call.
That's interesting.
He's a different type of person. He'll call quietly anyway, okay? But he's done a great job. He should be appreciated for the job he's done. Yes, ma'am.
Given that older Americans are advised to stay at home and avoid travel, is it absolutely necessary for you to go to Norfolk, Virginia tomorrow to wave goodbye to the ship?
No, but I have spirit for the country. We have sailors, we have doctors on that ship, we have everything.
Okay.
I'm not going to be jumping around in a huddle. But, yeah, I think it's a great sign. The President of the United States, they got a ship. out of maintenance, completed all the work in a fraction of the time. You know, it was supposed to be there for 3.5 additional weeks, and they got it done, and it's in great shape, and they're sending it up. So the answer, it's a good question. It's a fair question. I just feel that as the leader of our country, when they can do work like they've done, and they've been working all day, all night,
Please.
medical supplies, everything, loading up that ship.
Terminate that.
I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. It's right down the road practically, right? Virginia. And I think it's great if I go to Virginia. I guess I can take helicopter or plane. It's like a tiny trip. And I think it's a good thing when I go over there and I say thank you. It doesn't mean I'm going to be hugging people.
Or
It doesn't mean
I
I'm
named
shaking
the
people's
directory
hands.
wrong.
But I think it sends a signal when the president is able to go there and say thank you. So, you know, we'll be careful. Peter?
Mr. President, on the stockpile of supplies for a pandemic, yesterday from the podium, you blamed your predecessor, saying that when you arrived as president, you said, quote, "We took over an empty shelf." You've been president now for more than 3 years. Why didn't you and your administration fill that shelf?
Yeah, I did. Twice. We filled it twice, and we've been distributing that for literally a year.
So why are we
We've
in this
been
position,
filling
I guess
out.
Americans are
Nice
asking.
question, Peter. Thank you very much. We've been filling it out, and we've been filling that stockpile many, many times. It's been filled many, many times, and now what we're doing is something different because I think it's better. We'd fill it. So it comes from wherever the point of manufacture or whatever
Isle is open in another
we
program.
fill it, and then we go. Now it's full. Now we take it and we distribute around. Now what we're doing is we have an emergency. We're saying go direct, go direct,
Close
go
all of
direct.
these.
We fill it only where necessary, but now we're trying to go direct. So they drop it off in New York, or they drop it off in Michigan. They drop
You
it
know
off
what?
in Virginia, wherever it
I
may
should
be.
be trying to
Florida.
check.
Well, Florida's getting a lot of things. And we're finding it's a much better system. But we've filled and we've stockpiled many, many times. Yeah, we ended up with an empty shelf. Yes, please.
You spoke to
Work
China's
safe.
president Xi
Work
yesterday.
passasse.
What did he tell you in terms of data that he's going to share and
Yeah.
how they got the number of cases to go down?
So I had a great conversation with the president of China last night, pretty late in the night. It was fascinating
Uh-oh.
to me. You know,
And media's going to hate this.
it's
He's
a
talking to
different part of
China.
the world. It's a different form of government, to put it mildly. We talked for a long time. We talked for at least an hour, I guess. And one of the things
When says what,
I was, you know,
guys?
when did you notice?
They're not.
this
The
was
media's not gonna
happening?
like
we
that.
talked about the whole concept, how it happened, when it happened, what was the most effective use. I mean, was it the fact that, you know, distance, was distance the best thing? We talked about everything. And he's gotten and developed, because they're ahead of us from the standpoint of time.
I hate how
It
it's
happened
like every
here,
time that we do it,
Actually, long before it happened here.
writes it more.
By the way, would have happened here a lot sooner had we not kept those people out. The Chinese people coming over to the country, had we not kept them out.
Voices.
But we talked about it because he's had additional
God,
experience of
yes.
having been much earlier. And he's developed some incredible theories, and all of that information is coming over here. A lot of it's already come. The data, we call it data. And we're going to learn a lot from what the Chinese went through. Our relationship with China is very good. We also talked about the trade agreement, but I must tell you, this whole invisible enemy has taken over the world. Nobody cares about trade. Nobody cares about anything. You want to talk about trade, they immediately get back to this.
Oh, really?
So we really did. We talked about trade. You know, they're starting to buy very heavily from the farmers.
Okay,
under the agreement,
so we're
under
getting
the trade
closer.
deal that we just signed. But honestly, me, all of us, everybody's talking. You turn on television, you read the papers, it's all about this. And you know what? It probably should be mostly about this. It's hard to talk about, hey, how you doing with buying from the farmers? They have started very, very large buying, as you probably have read. But what we really focused on was this. Also said, how have you done with cures, and how have you done with respect to vaccines? We discussed that. And, you know, they're doing like we're doing. They're working on it very hard. They think they have some interesting things have been determined, and we'll see what happens. But we talked a lot about
That's not
vaccine.
good
We
because
talked a
that
lot
means that I
about
lost.
possible cures. How good would that be? I mean, that's game changer. So we'll see. And by the way, we have various things happening right now having to do with cures and vaccines, and I think we're doing very well, especially in the vaccine thing. I think we're very close. But as Tony will tell you, that's a long testing process. So we'll see what happens.
You to suspend tariffs?
He never asked me to suspend tariffs. No, we're taking in billions of dollars. He never did ask me that. John?
Mr. President, on Monday will be the end of the 15 days to slow the spread of the virus. Do you expect that you will simply renew the guidelines, or do you expect that there could be some modification to this?
So, John, I'll be sitting down with this brilliant woman and this brilliant man, and
just try
lots of
that.
brilliant people that work with them, I think, right, Deborah and Tony? And we'll be sitting down on Monday or maybe Tuesday, depending on which is the best for everybody, and we'll be making that determination. Okay, we'll be making it. And by the way, obviously, we're not doing it for New York. You see, New York is just coming into this really heated situation. We're building a lot of things in New York right now that nobody thought would ever be building. A lot of things are happening in New York. So
Hey, Anthony.
we are
Oh,
talking
wait,
about
is he back?
possibly other parts of
Oh,
the
it
country.
must be
which
reading
really aren't
older messages. or
affected to any major degree, or maybe we won't do that because
Oh my
maybe
gosh.
at the advice of a lot of very talented
jump.
people that do this for a living, that they won't want to expose
Oh,
anything.
is
They
it?
want to do it all at one time. These are the kind of things we'll be talking about.
So for people at home who are wondering, how long are we going to have to live like this? What advice would you give?
Well, it depends. We do want to flatten the curve. We want to see that curve start heading down in the other direction at a minimum. And we
That
really have to
that does
very
not
country
work
that
at
have not been
all.
affected or certainly have
Close
had a very
that.
small effect.
Holy crap.
We'll see. I certainly want to get it open as soon as possible. I don't want it to be long, but we also want it to open safe. Otherwise, what did we do?
So could it be months?
I hope not. I hope it's going to be sooner. I hope it disappears.
To watching
faster than that.
font now.
I
I
really
will
hope
hit like.
that
Thank you.
The people of our country have done a great job. I looked.
I've
last night, I was
created a
watching,
because I have
looking
this
down
thing where
Madison Avenue and
if
Fifth
there's a
Avenue.
change, it automatically
there were no
restarts.
people in the street.
It detects that a
I
part
mean,
of the
normally
code
you
has
wouldn't be
been
able to see
changed
the
and tries to
sidewalk.
reload the program.
There'd be cars all over. It'd be like rush hour stuff. I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, I can't believe it. There are no cars. There are no people. There wasn't one person on Fifth Avenue walking down the street. I've never seen that before. You know, I guess maybe at 1 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe, but I've never seen that before. The people have been incredible. They've really been. When you talk about distancing, social distancing, I mean, you know, we don't have a law. We're not going to put them in jail, and yet they're really. I think there's two things. Number one, they are afraid, and number two, they really are wanting to win this thing. Yes, please.
I wanted to ask you about United Airlines said today that they're worried that there's not enough money for them in the $2.2 trillion bill that you just signed, and that at the end of the sort of aid period, which would be the end of September, where the restrictions on layoffs come off, that they could be seeing
let's try this
significant
again.
layoffs. And so I was wondering what your reaction to that was, and what the administration might do to prevent.
So yeah,
sort
sure.
of-
It's a good question. We have brilliant people. We have a tremendous amount of money, and we have brilliant people that I'm taking from Wall Street with Secretary Mnuchin, who's done an incredible job, a brilliant guy. I'm taking from Wall Street people that I've known, that you all know, the top people in the world. They don't want money. They don't want. I mean, will they get something? I guess maybe they'll get, who knows, peanuts, what they want compared to what they would normally get. I'm taking the smartest, the most brilliant people in the world in finance, and they're going to be dealing. I'm not going to hire somebody that's never done it, that's a political person or anything else. We're getting the most brilliant financial minds in the world. I know all of them. You know all of them. I mean, you read about all of them. I guess some you don't read about, and they're probably the smartest of them all. But the fact is, we're taking these brilliant people, and they'll be dealing with United, and they want to help. Look, the airline business, I'll tell you right now, the airline business has always been a tough business. It's always been a very tough business, tough to make money with. It's got every barrier you can have, that business has. But for our country, it's very important. We have to take care of our country. We need the airlines to stay. It's also big for jobs. So we will be able to handle United, and we'll be able to handle Delta, and we'll be able to handle all of it. We have plenty of money. Now, will we end up owning large chunks, depending on what these great geniuses decide, along with the executives of the different companies? You know, it's possible. And they'll make a better deal on the loan, but the taxpayer will then end up owning a big chunk of companies. As an example, Boeing. Boeing, until a year ago, was the greatest company, I think, in the world by far. There wasn't anything close. I believe it was 1% of GDP, okay? Think of it. One company, 1% of GDP.
What
these
happened to
flaws,
Boeing
and it
was
had the problems.
crazy.
And it had on top of it this whole thing with the virus. So Boeing will probably need a hand, and we're going to bring Boeing back to health. But we have the smartest people in the world. We have the smartest. I don't
By
even
the
know
way,
if you
please
know
don't
that.
feel
I think
like
this
you
could be the
have
first
to
time you've
entertain me.
heard
I'm
it.
doing laundry and listening to the
People
president.
like
Yeah,
Larry Fink we're
it's cool.
talking to, and
I figure probably not very many
BlackRock,
people are going
and
to
we
watch
have,
this.
You know, the smartest people, and they all want to do it. They all, I mean,
Okay.
this to them, they love this country. They all want to do it. So we're speaking to people like that, and they'll be able to work it out.
I guess my question is there's probably a tension between bringing companies back to economic health and protecting people's jobs. I'm wondering if you're going to intervene and ask Treasury Secretary
No, I think they're the
Mnuchin
same
to-
thing. I mean, you know, bringing people back to health and protecting people's jobs. To me, and I'm okay at this stuff, that's the same thing.
Sometimes after I've done this,
I'm in a much different position as president than if I were an investor or something. But I want to bring them back to health because I want to preserve their jobs.
Now
but
read property
I also want to
speculator
preserve
Seth of
airlines
undefined.
because that's preserving lots of other jobs. That's preserving the travel and leisure industry, which is perhaps the largest industry in our country if you add it all up. You add up all the hotels and all the traveling and all the planes and everything else, probably by far the largest industry in our country. So saving the airlines is very important. And the airlines were all doing well. You know, the airlines were doing record business a month before this today, let's say. Even 22 days to be exact, right? When we first started seeing some real signs of problems. They
Wait,
were at
did it
record
restart?
levels. Last year they had a record year, the biggest in the history of the airlines. Everybody was doing well. I mean, I was presiding over the most successful economy in the history of the world. And now we're going to have to rebuild it. And I think we're going to have an absolute incredible fourth quarter. You know, maybe it's slightly after that, to be honest, but it's going to be in that time period. As soon as we get rid of this, I think we're going to have an explosion upward. It's going to be incredible. Please.
Mr. President, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has issued some of the fewest restrictions in the country, yet Florida has the highest percentage of elderly in the country.
That's true.
Do you believe Governor DeSantis is handling this well? Do you have
I do
confidence?
because he's a very talented guy. He's a very good governor. Everyone loves him. He's doing a fantastic job for Florida. He was not happy with the people coming down from New York. You know, they're flying down from New York, and he had a state and has a state with, you know, obviously a lot less problems. Florida's been doing really well in the sense of testing. The testing has shown much better results. I mean, they'll talk to you about that later. But no, he was very unhappy with the people coming down from New York, and I understand that. No, Ron's a very tough guy. He's a great governor, and I have tremendous confidence in him. And, you know, he had the beach situation. He resolved that. He will get it all resolved. Yeah, please.
I have two questions, Mr. President. First, yesterday in your letter to the governors, you said that you want to categorize certain counties of high risk, medium risk, and low risk. Practically speaking, how are you going to enforce that? How can you stop people from
You have
high
to go
risk,
louder.
for example?
You have to speak louder.
Sorry. How are you going to stop people from going from high risk areas to low risk areas? In your letters to the governors.
We have some very, very strong restrictions, but you're right. I don't like it. So we're seeing how it works. The data is coming in on Monday and Tuesday, and we're going to see how it looks. But, you know, can we go to a tougher level? We can, but that causes other problems. We're going to see, and we'll be reporting back very shortly after my meetings with Tony, Deborah, and others that we're going to be meeting with, and our vice president. We're going to be reporting back to the media. Okay? Please, corner.
I see it's built up
Hi, Mr.
drive-up
President.
testing
Owen
sites and the
Jensen with
coronavirus
EWTN
testing
News.
kits have still not arrived.
Millions of school kids across the country.
Yeah, well, there requires a lot of supplies to do the testing, and there's just having a really hard time getting all that stuff over here.
My kids, they want their
Because we sent it all to China.
and, climbing the walls, and my wife is about to lose it, right? So many of them are watching right now. What would you say to those kids right now, elementary school, middle school, high school? What would you tell them right now who are watching from home?
I would say that you are a citizen of the greatest country anywhere in the world. And we were attacked like nothing that's happened possibly since 1917, many, many years ago. We were attacked. And we're winning the battle, and we're going to win the war, and it's not going to take, hopefully, that much longer. But we have to win the war. And I would say that they have a duty to sit back, watch, behave, wash their hands, stay in the apartment with mom and dad. They look like they're lucky to have you as a father, and just learn from it. But you know, the young people have been tremendous.
Read file sync.
Some of them
is
are very happy not to go to school. You
defined.
understand that?
Aha.
Perhaps yours, perhaps not. But we have literally had no problem. But again, they should just sit back and be very proud of our country because we're doing it for them. You know, ultimately, we're doing it for them more than anything else, if you think about it. The other thing that's nice, and the one thing that has come out, and I learned this, again, it was reaffirmed by President Xi last night in my conversation. The young people are really, it's an incredible phenomenon, but they are successfully attacked to a much lesser extent by this pandemic, by this disease, whatever they want to call it. You can call it a germ, you can call it a flu, you can call it a virus. You know, you can call it many different names. I'm not sure anybody even knows what it is. But the children do very well. It's almost the younger they are, the better they do. I guess the immune system is, sadly for some of us, their immune system is stronger. But actually, I'm very happy about that. But they have been attacked, for instance, the Spanish flu. And if you look at the H1N1, the spine, if you take a look at the swine flu, which was, as you know, not so long ago, that attacked very strongly young children, kids, middle-aged people, everyone. Age is a factor here, so your children should be in good shape. But just tell them to be very proud of the country, okay?
Just to follow up real quickly, when does the risk become an acceptable one to allow people to go back to their lives? Maybe
Well, we're
Dr.
going to make that
Fauci would-
determination. And you're going to have something to do with that. And look, we're going to be guided also. You have some real strong feelings. The media, I'll tell you what, the media generally, I mean, I've impressed.
No such file or directory. Open.
I'm not used to fair treatment
Voices.
in the media. I don't know. I don't know how to handle it. But the media has really been, overall, I think the media has been pretty fair. Some not. I mean, I could tell you who, but what's the point?
Oh, it
But
definitely
the media
exists.
has really been fair. I mean, they view this as that we're
Maybe
all in a problem
it
together, and
got
we're going to
deleted.
win. We're going to win. Please.
Yes, thank you, President Trump. New York is currently the epicenter of the outbreak in the U.S. with about half of the cases. Yesterday, Kellyanne Conway laid a lot of the blame for that on the mayor, pointing out that he told people to go about life as normal and he resisted closing schools and businesses. I'm wondering if you agree, and also if I could ask you your thoughts on the stimulus bill preventing aid to your businesses. Do you think that's fair, and what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's not happening. I mean, I think they wrote us out, and that's all right. But that's not happening. As far as the mayor of New York, I'll be honest, I didn't know him well. He and I are obviously opposite persuasions. And
Opposite persuasions,
I
gosh,
don't know if we ever
jeez.
spoke other than to maybe
Jeez, Donnie.
times. I did down at the World Trade Center Memorial once a long time ago. So I've spoken to him a lot, Mayor de Blasio, and we've really had incredibly productive discussions. I've gotten him a lot of people. We've gotten him a medical center. He's asked for at Elmhurst. I know Elmhurst Hospital very well. I mean, that was an area of Queens that I grew up in. And boy, you talk about an epicenter.
Yeah,
That's
I think he
really
means
the
that he's a Democrat.
epicenter of the epicenter. That's really something. We talked about it because I was, very close to where I grew up. And being so familiar with it, it's incredible to see where they have the trucks. I don't have to go into great detail. The refrigerated trucks coming up, and I've never seen anything like it. I've spoken with Mayor de Blasio a lot in the last week. We've helped him, I think, a lot. And I've really gotten to like him. I get along with him very well. Now, he things and we've
It's
produced.
gonna be difficult
Today I
and make
spoke
me
to him
do
with
everything the
Secretary
right
of
way.
Defense, Esper, and we had a great conversation, and we're helping him get some of the things he needs. I don't have to go into great detail, but he's very happy about what we were able to do for him today. And he's like us. He's working very hard. But I can't say anything bad about Mayor de Blasio. I mean, my relationship with him over the last couple of weeks has been excellent. And we've done a good job for him, too. Yeah.
On the governors,
Please.
There's been a lot of talk about ventilators and PPE and that kind of thing, but what about hospital capacity? And are you, prepared for the stories
So we're
that are
doing
going to
that. Great
come?
question. We're increasing capacities. Right. We're actually adding on through the Army Corps of Engineers. This is a big job, and we're doing it in many states, not just New York and California. By the way, Gavin Newsom's been terrific. I have to tell you, the governor of California, we're getting along really well. We're working hard for him. As you know, the hospital ship, the other hospital ship, and they are incredible, that just arrived in Los Angeles, fully stocked. But
See,
Gavin
whenever I
Newsom
do
has
that,
been really good, and so
it
many of the
will
governors have been good. And these are
send the
governors
message
that I've
again.
been
See?
fighting with about different things for a long time. The forest
Oh,
fires
gosh.
in his case, and the border, and all sorts of things. And here we are, getting along very well. So, and I appreciate his nice words. I really do. I really appreciate it. And the people with me appreciate it. Do you have another question?
Well, I was going to say on the issue of hospital capacity
Yeah.
and beds and
So,
being able to
yeah, good question.
have them die because they can't have a hospital.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, we just started this, we were just notified, and some of the governors have asked us to build hospitals through extensions, through portable
I wondered why the
hospitals,
exact
through
same
things,
command
and-
keeps appearing. Yeah,
and
because
normally this, in all fairness, this is done.
it
normally
reads the
locally.
whole history.
We don't go into cities and.
Let's see if
extend
we
a
can
hospital
figure
that's
out what the deal
existing.
is with
But
that.
we're doing it now because we really are equipped to do it. We have incredible people, and we're expanding hospitals. We're building many portable hospitals, not only Javits Center, where you have 4, plus you have 4 medical centers, but we're doing it in New Jersey, Governor Murphy. We're doing it in other states. We're doing it
Let
in
last
California.
read equals 0.
We're doing
and
some
time
in the state of
equals 0.
Washington, despite the fact that I'm not appreciative
And
of the
then
way,
it comes in
the
here,
governor speaks.
and it says last
We're doing
read
it in
equals
a lot
time.
of different locations, and we're doing a lot of expansions. We're also taking over buildings, and the city will go in, or the state usually will.
See,
go
I
in,
should
take
have
over
some
a
sort of
building,
initializer so
and
that
we
when I
go in
restart
and
it, it doesn't
equip
read
and
them all.
make it
But in normal
a
use,
hospital functioning. They call it hospital functioning.
I can see how you are
We're
programming
doing
in
a
the
lot of
smaller
that.
insert. Is
Again,
that?
this
No,
is
it's
normally done by
JavaScript.
governors and then give it to the city to do.
JavaScript.
You bring it into the point. But we're doing a lot of that, and they're doing a great job. Mostly done by the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA.
Where was I?
Questions on those governors. You and your team obviously have had classified briefings on the pandemic, I assume, for a while now. Were the governors included in those briefings that you would have got in January and February? When
That I
did you
don't
warn
know.
the governors, as you
That
would
I
have had
don't
the information first?
Yeah, well, they say I had classified briefings a long time ago, which wasn't true, but
What?
we've had
Which wasn't
briefings,
true.
and
They're gonna.
as I
There's
know
gonna
it,
be
the
so many
governors
things
have
that they're
also
gonna
had
like.
many briefings
Oh,
with
we don't believe you.
I guess, to tell them this thing was coming. This was a.
Oh, I think we knew. I think we knew for a while. But if you take a look, I was the
Speculator
first one
Seth
to
says
say to
test.
China,
Okay.
and I
Now that
great
that
respect
works.
for China, I will tell you that. But I was the first one when they had the problem to say you can't come in. And if you go back, that's a long time ago.
So if I can follow up.
Mr. President, on this question of ventilators, I understand you have a question whether or not New York needs as much as they want. Governor Cuomo is saying 21 days from
Here's
now.
what we're going to have. Are you ready? We're going to have more than we're manufacturing a lot of them now. We're accumulating a lot. We're taking a lot through the act. We're taking a lot. We're actually taking them. And we're going to have, in a very short period of time, and Peter's doing it along with some very talented people, some really talented people. It's very impressive, actually. But we're actually taking a lot. We're going to have plenty. And if for some reason, John, if for some reason you're going to need even more, we're going to be prepared. As an example, we've given out thousands and thousands, which I think you'll know. We accumulated thousands. We give them out. But we right now, I think in the stockpile, we have over 10,000. The reason we don't want to distribute that is for exactly what you're saying. If there's a mad rush in New York or maybe in Louisiana or maybe someplace
smart.
else, we don't want to have given out all of those units, the ventilators, and then in those sections we give them to Iowa, but they didn't have a problem in Iowa. We give them to Idaho. We give them to lots of different places, and now we have to try and get them back, which is never easy to do.
Here's my question.
No, John, what I'm saying is this. We are prepared for things that nobody has any idea that we'd be prepared. And you know what? When I took this over, it was an empty box. We didn't have testing. We didn't have anything. We had a broken system there. We had a broken system with stockpiling. We had a lot of broken systems. And I'm not just blaming President Obama. You go long before that. But in all fairness to all of the former presidents, none of them ever thought a thing like this could happen. But we have right now 10,000 ventilators
will
in
be-
stockpile. We are ready to go with those ventilators. What we don't want is where we distribute the ventilators like we did in New York and they didn't need them or they didn't know or they didn't use them. If we need
this
them in New
bit
York,
right
we're going to
here.
have plenty. Now, we're getting a lot of ventilators in the next short period of time. A lot of ventilators
this
are coming in the next short period of time. We're
equals-
manufacturing. We went to all of the companies. I read their names. We went to all of those companies. They are going to go,
Commands of
I would
one.
say, round the clock, Peter. Is that right? They're going round the clock.
Is 100 days fast enough, like you said? Is that fast enough to get 100,000? Because some of these
Let's
people
put
need
it this
in
way.
3 weeks.
Let's put it this way. We've distributed thousands and thousands
Same.
already. Normally, these would be bought by states, just so you understand. Normally, these would be bought by governors. They were, I don't want to say unprepared, but nobody was prepared for this. What we've done, nobody can even imagine. And by the way, I've had governors tell me, including Democrat governors, they said, we can't believe you've been able to do this. And you go to other countries, and we're not only competing against states, because we've had a couple of cases where states were buying, we were buying, and I said specifically, because I heard about it, pull back, let the state buy it. Immediately, the price goes way down, and they end up buying it. But we're also competing against many countries, because many countries need the ventilators. That's why I want to build more, if possible. John, maybe we'll take one more question.
If I get to the question the question I was building up to is
Error
are we
saving
able
accent.
to guarantee, to assure these states, these hospitals, that everybody
No.
who needs a ventilator will get a ventilator?
So here's what I'll tell you. I think we're in really good shape. This is a pandemic, the likes of which nobody's seen before. I think we're in great shape. I think that, number one, we've distributed, ventilators is a big deal. We've distributed vast numbers of ventilators, and we're prepared to do vast numbers. I think we're in great shape. I hope that's the case. I hope that we're going to have leftovers so we can help other people, other countries.
Everybody who needs one will be able to get a ventilator.
Look, don't be a cutie pie, okay?
Don't be a cutie pie.
Nobody's ever done what we've done. Nobody's done anything like we've been able to do. And everything I took over was a mess. It was a broken country in so many ways other than this. We had a bad testing system. We had a bad stockpile system. We had nothing in the stockpile system. So I wouldn't tell me what being a wise guy. Go ahead.
Mr. President, you signed a bill today, the size of which could choke an
Unexpected
entire herd
end
horses.
of Jason.
And before you even had a chance to put pen to paper, people were already talking about the need for phase 4.
Yeah.
Do you see a need
Well,
for
it'll-
phase
yeah.
4, and where do you think the
Well,
priorities would
there
lie?
may be something where we're going to help states, because the states have been hurt very badly. And the beautiful thing about our country is 6.2 trillion, because it is 2.2 plus 4. It's $6.2 trillion, and we can handle that easily because of who we are, what we are.
So it gets
it's
it.
Our
Tries
it's
to
our
save it.
money. It's our. We are the ones. It's our
Error
currency.
saving accent.
We can handle it.
Or do you
and
want
we
to
can
reload
handle,
finally? Yes.
I watched Jerome Powell the other day, and he did a good job.
No, it did
He
it
said,
correctly.
We'll do whatever we have to do.
Speculators
John,
have
we have to do whatever we
and
have
am.
to do.
Where do you see the priorities be?
The priority is life and safety, and then the economy. Life and safety.
Does the Easter goal stick? It seems like
Well,
earlier
we'll
in the week you
see.
said we
No,
love
no.
Easter, but now it seems like it
We'll
could
see.
be longer.
A lot of things
We're
can.
heading into a long weekend.
Yeah.
What do you tell those
スペキュレーター瀬と SA はイエステスト。
I tell them if it's your life,
Okay, it
and
works.
Safety.
It
We
works.
need more time. They're not going to have a
Well,
problem.
why is
working
it
out.
displaying an error
It's
though?
life, it's safety, and it's our country. But we have to take care of people. At the same time, we want to get them out. They want to get out. Our country was built on that. But we have to make sure it's safe, and everyone knows that. Okay, one more question, please.
Has your thinking changed over the last 30 days? Thank you.
Go ahead.
Both the World Health Organization, as recently as today, and your own health officials
Does
have
it
said that any
do this when
treatments
I
that we
say
use for
clip?
coronavirus should be scientifically demonstrated to be effective. But at the same time, you've said that chloroquine, as an example,
Says error writing clip.
could be used as a cure very soon. So, is the WHO and your health officials wrong on this point? Are they?
So hydroxychloroquine, which is supposed to be the better of the two, seems to have some good backing.
This
We're
whole
gonna
bit
see.
of
Look,
code here is wrong.
Governor Cuomo, we've given him 10,000 units. It's a lot. And they're testing it. It's a malaria drug. It's also a drug for arthritis. But and it's phenomenal for those two things, as you probably know, especially for malaria. But we're going to find out soon. I hope it works. There are signs that it could be doing well. They are testing 10,000 units. It's a lot. And I tell you what, I want to thank the FDA because they approved it immediately. Based on the fact that it was already out for a different purpose, they approved it immediately. So, look, hydroxychloroquine is a very powerful drug for certain things, and it's a very successful drug. There's reason to believe that it could be successful here. Now, the reason I disagree with you, and I think Tony would disagree with me, but the reason I disagree with you is that we have a pandemic. We have people dying now. If we're going to go into labs and test all of this for a long time, we can test it on people right now who are in serious trouble, who are dying. If it works, we've done a great thing. If it doesn't work, you know, we tried. But this is not something that's going to kill people. So we can go in and we can test and we can take our time. When I was with the FDA, you know, they indicated that, well, we'll start working on it right away and it could take a year. I said, what do you mean a year? We have to have it tonight. If we don't have it tonight, I want to test it immediately because it's on the market in a different form. So we know that. So from a safety standpoint, at least we know that. But you're talking about giving it to people who in many cases are dying. So we want to do it the way. This is sort of like right to try. We got right to try approved. For 44 years or more, they couldn't get it approved. We have the best labs, the best doctors, they couldn't get it. I got it approved. Now if somebody's terminally ill, and if we think we have something that's going to work, we can actually use it. They can use it. And I'll tell you what, you ought to do, when this is over, you got to do a story on that because we have had some tremendous results.
Just before you go, could I ask you something that just popped on Wall Street Journal? It says, headline, the Trump administration plans to suspend the collection of import tariffs for 3 months, according to administration officials.
It's not even talk to me about it. Just more fake news, John. Look, not even talk to me. They're talking about, the only one I've heard that from, like as an example, China pays 25% interest on $250 billion worth of product that they send in. That's a lot. Everybody keeps saying, oh, are you going to suspend the tariffs? Well, the answer is no, but President Xi never even brought it up last night. It wasn't even discussed. It's fake news. Tell the Wall Street Journal. You know, the Wall Street Journal does a lot of fake news, too. It's pretty amazing. So I want to leave you by just saying I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank the American public and all of the people that have helped so much. And we're going to give the podium to Vice President Pence, who has been incredible. And if he's tired and if he's not answering questions like he should, we have a great reason because he hasn't slept in about 4 weeks. But I want to thank him because he has dedicated, I mean, he is a dedicated
So that
person.
fixes that.
Long before
So
this,
just
but
do it like that.
the job he's done has been fantastic. So I want to thank Mike, all the people on the task force, and FEMA, and Army Corps, everybody. You've been fantastic. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President.
Thank you.
Safe.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, and now Pence gets up
The
and
White
gives
House
his
Coronavirus Task Force.
I haven't been
today.
watching
We
these, so.
continue at the President's direction to focus on slowing the spread of the coronavirus through mitigation, expanded testing, and ensuring that our healthcare workers have the supplies that they need. With cases now in all 50 states and more than 50% of cases in the New York area, it's more important than ever to adhere to the guidance of state and local authorities. And
Okay,
for
so
every American,
I say something.
the best thing that you can do, young or old, is put into practice the President's coronavirus guidelines for America. It is the way that each of us can do our part. Since we last spoke, as you all know, the President signed the Coronavirus Aid Relief Economic Security Act. This makes direct payments available to American families. The average family of four will receive a direct payment of some $3,400.
スペキュレーター瀬戸 SA
It
は
also
イエステス
covers
ト。
payroll for small businesses across the country for a period of several months so that even if the business is closed, they can continue to have a loan which will be completely forgiven if they keep their whole team on the payroll. There's support for critical industries, for hospitals, and for states as well. As of this evening, the President has issued 12 major disaster declarations, most recently for the states of Maryland and Missouri. And on the subject of
Speculator
vaccines,
Seth says test.
Emory University in
Hey.
Atlanta today began enrolling volunteers in a phase 1 clinical trial of another possible vaccine for the coronavirus. On the subject of testing, testing is available in all 50 states.
Over here, we should
And
change this.
As a great credit to our partnership with commercial laboratories across the country, this morning it was reported that more than 685,000 tests have already been performed, and we are particularly grateful to the American Hospital Association, whose members are now reporting into the CDC and FEMA in real time, giving our experts more visibility on those that have contracted the disease around the country. The President mentioned this, but it's worth mentioning again. Apple has a new app out. It is a screening tool that'll help Americans determine whether they should be tested.
So here for
It has
this
a
set
easy
accent.
format, question and answer. If you have issues about whether or not a test is appropriate for you,
And
you
then
can,
here I should
you
say,
can use the new
YT.
Apple app to accomplish that as well. On the subject
Send
of
message.
supplies, the President spoke about the priority that we're placing on personal protective equipment and especially ventilators, and I will not add to that. I can tell you that this weekend we'll be reporting on aggressive efforts that our supplies stabilization task force at FEMA is taking to import medical supplies from around the world. We're working as we speak on an airlift from a number of countries around the globe to deliver very important medical protective equipment to the United States. At the present moment, you've heard the numbers, but from the Strategic National Stockpile, we distributed more than 7 million N95 respirators or masks, more than almost 3 million face shields, more than 8,000 ventilators. Nations to the Strategic National Supply. We've mentioned Apple donating some 9 million masks that can be used by healthcare workers, but Merck recently announced plans to donate 500,000 masks, USPS 500,000 masks, and a little company called Puritan in Maine is actually in the business now of manufacturing swabs. So businesses large and small all across America are rising to the challenge. As the President noted, he will attend the embarkation of the U.S. Navy ship Comfort tomorrow from Norfolk. The U.S. Navy ship Mercy arrived in Los Angeles today. We will continue to focus resources and supplies on those areas around the country that have seen significant outbreak. But let me send a word to hospital workers around the country. We continue to hear anecdotally and occasionally see in media reports people who have concerns that their hospital may be running short on personal protective equipment in the days ahead. We just encourage you to alert your hospital administrator. Hospital administrators, please alert your state health director. Tonight, Administrator Gaynor at FEMA will be speaking to all of the state emergency directors
so now
in
it should
America
try and sing
to talk about the availability of resources, but also encouraging them to have a plan to perhaps even use their National Guard to move medical equipment from storehouses to hospitals. We'll be working very closely with state emergency managers on issues of logistics. But today, we're fortunate to be joined by two members of the Cabinet who have been very busy making sure that the children of America have the meals that they need while school has been suspended in so many places around the country. Secretary DeVos and Secretary Perdue are going to share some exciting news and progress that we've made in feeding children who need nutrition assistance while schools are closed. The truth is many underprivileged kids would not be getting school meals apart from the fact that as we stand here today, our administration has approved waivers for all 50 states to give them flexibilities to work with local partners to get meals to children that are in need, and also a nationwide waiver to allow parents to pick up meals. But what's most exciting today, as our two cabinet secretaries will reflect, we have private sector partners, a few of whom are with us today, who are helping us
It
feed
works.
important meals to children and to families around the country. You'll hear in a few moments
Use set
from the
accent.
chairman of
Permanently set your
McLean
accent.
Global
Use
Logistics and also the
accent.
CEO of
Accent for
Panera
a
Bread
one-off.
about
Accent
the work
choices.
that they are both doing to literally deliver millions of meals
And I
to
could
American
probably change
families.
that little
It's
thing that
truly
gives
an
the accent
inspiring
choices to
story,
be
and I look
something that
forward
like
to,
iterates through.
hearing it from them and sharing it with you. But it's just one more example, as President Trump said.
Cool.
that
Well,
we'll get
that
through
was
this,
everything that I wanted
we'll
to
get
do.
through this together. Not only a whole of federal
Yeah, I think
government
that was
approach,
everything that we
but
wanted.
all of our state partners, working with health
So now
care
that I can
authorities
get
at
it
the
to say
local
stuff
level,
so
but
easily,
also
we
working with
could add a lot of
businesses that have been willing to
chatbot
step up
commands in here,
and
huh?
stand at the point of the need and be there for the most
Super
vulnerable
cool,
and help us
guys.
meet the needs of our children and of our families. And on behalf of the President and a grateful nation, we thank you. Madam Secretary?
Winston's mom
Thank you
says
so much,
accent
Mr.
French
Vice
F,
President,
voila,
and
bon,
I just
speculator
want to
savvy.
begin by thanking President Trump for his
Oh,
clear-eyed
why did
leadership
not get that one
during these
correctly?
challenging times for our country and for our world, and Vice President Pence for your tremendous leadership of the task force and for truly making a difference that
certainly
includes
shouldn't read the
America's
first two
students and
parts.
teachers as well.
Did you
Most of
copy and
them,
paste that
as
in or
Owen
something?
said a moment ago, experiencing unprecedented disruptions in learning and in their lives. I want each of them to know that President Trump and his administration are taking decisive action to keep them safe and healthy so they can continue learning. We must rise to the challenge of educating all children from all walks of life who all of a sudden are in many, many different learning environments. And they're counting
Speculator
on all of
6 says
us to
voilà
find
bon
solutions.
speculator 7.
I'm really pleased to be here today for the announcement of another terrific solution initiated under the President's
Yeah.
leadership.
I think that
Secretary
you
Perdue is gonna
copied and
share
pasted it
details of this public-private
when.
partnership.
So
But
there's this
before
weird
that,
thing
I'd
where
like
if you
to
copy it from the
provide a
window
few
and paste it
additional
back in,
comments and talk
it's
about the work
different.
that the Department of Education
Let's see if I
has
can
been
show
doing on
you.
behalf of students, parents, and teachers during this national emergency. My team and I are in contact daily with governors, state school chiefs, college presidents, superintendents, and local education leaders. We are quickly responding to their needs so they can do the next right thing for their students. Most governors have decided to close some or all schools in their states for a period of time. As a result, students may not be able to take federally
you can say
mandated standardized
review,
tests this spring. And the president took action to make sure they didn't have to.
all characters.
We made the process to delay these tests for a year fast and painless. As of today, 47 states have requested the delay or the waiver, and
Ask
46
Pulaski
have been
values.
approved within a 24-hour
Will be
period.
shown with names
We
and
also
stuff, right?
released additional information making clear the expectation that education will continue for all students. The transition to distance and online learning needs to happen quickly, and it needs to include meaningful instruction and
Review.
supports for children with disabilities. Learning should not stop or be denied because schools fear federal regulators or fear doing something different. Distance learning is happening. States like New Hampshire and Florida have implemented phased and tiered approaches to meet the needs of students in their states. Other schools and states are implementing creative approaches.
They
and
look the
working
same,
through
but
practical
supposedly they're
realities
not the
to
same.
help
Let's see if I
students
can figure it
continue
out.
learning. In remote Colorado mountain towns without internet connectivity, teachers are putting weekly learning packets together, and they're holding office hours by phone to help their students when they're stuck. South Carolina is deploying 3,000 buses with mobile Wi-Fi hotspots to help kids in remote areas access learning that way. This national emergency gives all of us an opportunity to come together to educate all students out of principle. It's simply not an acceptable option to educate none of them out of fear. So we stand ready to assist educators and their students. We're compiling all of the tools we have produced, along with the great
guess.
resources that states are offering to help keep learning going. There are already many existing online learning platforms, and many states were already offering a robust menu of courses virtually. We will be adding that information to our website on an ongoing basis, and that site is ed.gov/coronavirus. We're using every tool possible to extend flexibility to states and communities. This includes funding flexibility. Where we don't have the latitude, we're working with Congress on solutions. One area is providing direct financial support to students, families, and teachers. We will propose Congress provide microgrants to help students continue to learn. These would be focused toward the most disadvantaged students in our states or communities where their school system has simply shut down. I've always believed education funding should be tied to students, not systems, and that necessity has never been more evident. We'll also support microgrants to teachers to help them pivot to supporting all of their students in a different environment than they've been used to. We know they are dealing with an unprecedented situation, but it's been truly inspiring to hear story after story of teachers rising to the occasion and meeting the unique needs of each of their students. Ultimately, we know everyone's grappling with the challenge of keeping students safe and healthy while also building capacity for remote learning. It's an important moment to realize that learning can and does happen anywhere and everywhere. I think of the Texas dad who started a daily webinar interviewing friends and acquaintances in wildly different careers and helping students understand what it takes to work in that chosen career. Or the history teacher in Virginia who connects live stream every morning. I think of the art teacher in Tennessee who's broadcasting her lessons over social media. Or of Second Lady Karen Pence, who prepares packages of art materials and projects for her students to pick up with their school lunches. Or the principal in Alabama, who's going online daily, giving morning announcements, leading the Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence. And I think of the many schools that have distributed laptops and tablets to students who don't have them so they can continue learning over video conference. And the ones that just don't have that option currently, like the remote Colorado towns. Joy Hoffmeister, the school chief in Oklahoma, may have put this best.
I don't know what it is.
She told me, school isn't a building. It's students, teachers, and families working together to advance learning.
Yes.
She's right, and that's our shared mission. Let me also touch very briefly on how we're supporting students pursuing higher education.
This.
At the beginning of this outbreak, we immediately
you had an extra C in there.
Higher education regulatory flexibility so learning could go online, and it did. In many cases, it was a seamless transition, and learning continues. And we're continuing to cut federal bureaucracy and let schools rise to meet this challenge. We've vastly improved distance learning policies, which are working quickly to enact. We're working quickly to enact for traditional higher education. Shorter-term programs and apprenticeships also need to grow and thrive. And as the president has so
I
effectively
bet you that in
workers
here we
need these
say
options as they look to come back stronger than ever from these momentary setbacks. The president promised to defeat this invisible enemy and keep our economy strong. He took immediate action and provided student loan relief to tens of millions of borrowers. We set all federally held student loans to 0% interest rates and deferred payments for 60 days. Now with the CARES Act that he signed just earlier today, Mr. President, those actions will extend to 6 months. We hope these actions and others we've taken for those who delinquent on payments or have had other issues with their student loan payments will help alleviate the financial burden and anxiety students and their families are feeling during these tough times. These are tough times, but we, the people, are tougher. So in closing, let me offer just a few words of encouragement. To our students, your educations can and should continue. Learning can happen anywhere, and we will help make sure it does. We believe in you. To our teachers, we will support you and help you. You are doing great work. Keep it up.
Bang.
And to every parent and family, we know these are challenging times, but it's in the face of great challenges that Americans have always risen to the occasion and embraced greatness. And I know we'll do that once again. I thank again the President and the Vice President for their leadership on behalf of America's students and on behalf of all of us. And now I'll turn to my friend Secretary Sonny Perdue to share more on how we're working together to help support student nutrition.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. While our dedicated educators are out there trying to continue to fill our kids with knowledge even when they're not in a school site, USDA is working very hard to continue to fill their tummies. You may know that many of these children receive breakfast and lunch at their school sites, and our federal government participates with our dedicated school nutritional and lunch professionals.
So now, somewhere in here, it should say.
We have issued waiver after waiver to make this flexibility
There,
available
they should.
for
It
things
should
that make
say
sense
here
when
in a
children
second.
cannot
Say a bunch
congregate
of them.
in
It
a
will say
singular location. That's one
unknown.
of the first waivers we issued, and when Congress gave us the authority to issue more, we are turning those waivers around in rapid
Unknown
speed,
command.
really less than 24
There you
hours.
go.
So we're very fortunate that we've got a great team.
Except for
at
that
our
it
Food,
should have been
Nutrition,
0.
Consumer Services team working 24/7 to make
Save.
sure that our kids continue to be fed. It's a great partnership that's happening out there. I want to mention one other simple but very important point about another matter that your listeners and readers may understand. That's the food supply
My
chain.
gender male
USDA
accent.
obviously
Yeah,
is
see, it's
integrally involved
unknown
in
command.
the food supply chain. We've worked with all those
That's
producers,
wrong.
even the ones who provide equipment and materials for our farmers and cattlemen and producers out there to make sure they have what they need. They're part of the critical and essential workforce there to continue. And the
Yet
good
he does
news
not
is
speak
those
Russian.
folks are staying on the job. Those who've grown it.
No, it
those
does.
who are
It does, but
processing,
you put
our
something else in
inspectors
front
who
of
are
it.
grading it just the same way they always had. Those folks who are delivering it, packing it, delivering it, stocking those shelves, and checking out those customers. That's the great news about our food supply chain. And it's a great American story, Mr. Vice President, under your leadership, the President's leadership. This is that whole of America approach. Federal government
Unknown
can't do it
command,
all.
unknown
We've got great
command.
partners out there in the food supply chain as well
Wait,
as
wait. So
our
if
food
I
nutrition
say
services and our partners in our school nutrition services doing a great job to continue to
hello.
get these meals to kids there. Two of our private sector partners are here with us today. I'd like for them to tell their story
Okay.
because it's a great story.
Oh, and it
Denton
says
McLean
unknown
with
command?
McLean Global here has partnered with Baylor Collaborative on Poverty and Hunger, along with PepsiCo, in order to pack 1 million meals a week to deliver to rural kids who might not can get to town to these drop-off sites where the other kids are picking up meals. And again, Niran Chaudhry, Niran Chaudhry of Panera Bread, CEO of Panera Bread, their company is also participating in Columbus, Ohio, with the Children Hunger Alliance there to deliver food meals that meet the regulations of USDA under flexible conditions there to get food meals there. And Panera's looking to expand that to nationwide as well. So, Darren,
I know what's
why
wrong.
don't you come and tell us your story? Thank you very much.
Save. We could change. We could add speed.
Thank you. Mr. President, Mr. Vice
That
President.
could get really
Secretary
annoying,
Perdue
though.
and Secretary Voss. Right now, there's a lot of focus on our large cities and the enormous challenges that they face. But imagine this. You live in Iberia Parish, Louisiana.
There we go.
Or you live in the Nome Borough in Alaska. Your schools are closed, and normally your children get 2 meals a day at school. Both parents are working from
default.
home, but mom and dad just can't get to work.
So now
get
if
to
I
town
do-
where meals are being offered for pickup. That's about to change and change for the better. Because of this USDA
Ooh.
program, McLean Global will source,
Should.
secure, receive,
Yeah.
organize,
Now-
assemble,
now it recognizes
package, label, and then deliver boxes
And if I read
straight
it
to
out,
a child's home.
now I might have
And here's
to
another
insert
big
this bit
difference.
over here.
For the first time, we'll be able to offer shelf-stable meals that will last 2 weeks. That's a true game changer for rural families. It's happening because of the president's order to do whatever it takes.
Speculator
Everyone
Seth
knows
says
that
boo.
tons of
No, wait,
paperwork
what?
can be like lighter fluid for a great idea. And this is a great idea. We field tested it in 2019 and it worked. You've heard today about the administration's work on this
Oh.
project. Here are some other
It's the
important
wrong one.
partners in this effort. We have Baylor University. They will
Germany,
provide sponsorship and oversight. In addition, we are deeply appreciative to UPS and the United States Postal Service, and we are joined by PepsiCo
Speculator
company
says
to help
foo.
get this accomplished. Because of this collaboration, and
I am
our
very
tireless
proud of what
employees,
we have so
I can
far.
report to you the boxes are ready to ship. And after all, this is all about the
Now
children
you were talking
who
about
must be
GitHub.
fed during this
We
crisis.
should fix that.
We stand ready to serve. Thank you, Mr. President and Mr. Vice President, for caring about the specific needs for the children who live in rural America. Thank you.
want to welcome Niran Chaudhry, CEO, Panera Bread.
Status.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. President and Mr. Vice President, for your leadership. It's an honor to be here, and I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity. This is an extraordinary time, and I passionately believe that at such times we must all come together and do our very, very best to contribute and make a difference. At Panera, our mission is about ensuring that good food is accessible to everyone, especially those who are the most vulnerable, such as children, and especially at a time like this. And we are absolutely determined to make a difference in this regard. Today we are announcing a partnership with USDA.
Oh, these other ones I can get rid of, huh?
To serve freshly prepared, wholesome meals to children in the entire state of Ohio to begin with, and hopefully after that to expand
My
that
YouTube
program
was the
across
one
many
that
other states
ended
in
up
the
working in these two.
I do believe
Don't
that the human experience, indeed life, is all about having resilience in the face of adversity.
Winston's mom says, why are all of these people in the White House standing on a podium together in this day and age? Winston's mom says Luddites.
And at Panera,
I think the whole thing is funny.
and our
So
franchise partners
here's
live
why it's
that
funny.
spirit every
Okay,
single day.
when
They are resilient
the coronavirus
and on their behalf,
pandemic
I
started to become a big
that we are
deal.
committed to do
At first, Donald Trump was kind of trying to ignore it. At a certain point, it became clear to him and everybody else that this was a serious issue that the government was going to have to deal with. And so then what he said was,
Thank you so much. Thank you. For
all of the media said, well, we're going to attack him for it.
I'll actually allow the
And
business leaders
it was a huge mistake
step out if
because
you'd like.
when the
Appreciate you very
president,
much on behalf of the
any
president,
president,
great
when they do best is when they're in front of the
Before we
American
go to
people.
questions,
When they're on the television and they're doing these news conferences, they're talking directly to the people. Like whenever the president does a special address to the nation in the evening, their ratings always go up. Always go up. Like Jimmy Carter, he did that one where he said, "Oh, we all need to be more frugal.
and they can both
We
share
all
the
need to do more frugal."
of
That was
ongoing
probably
efforts at mitigation
one of the
by
biggest
every
mistakes of
American.
his presidency.
Need to support
But
what state and local
immediately afterwards, his approval
guidance
rating was
is
very high.
to, every American community,
And there was
but
a
also,
later that people were like, well, this
as
is dumb.
Dr. Birx continues
So,
to work carefully with the modeling,
putting him
analyzing the
on the
data to
podium
reflect
every day is like what he's good at. It's like good press, even if it's controversial and everybody complains about it. And so they're totally playing it out, right? They get up, they bring up every person that's like even marginally involved in this.
Doing the mitigation efforts,
You know?
and to see if that was reflected in
Winston's mom says, welcome back, sexy robot voice. Winston's mom says FDR had the fireside chats. I agree it's important for the president to speak to us.
But what he's doing now is he's playing it up. In fact, it was so much so that a bunch of the networks were saying that they weren't going to cover it anymore, that they weren't going to air those, not even on their news channels, which I thought was funny because it was helping him. So yeah, that's why they literally they get everybody that they can up on that stage because it's good PR.
The hospital admissions that we are seeing this
Get
week,
status.
next week will be infections that occurred before the mitigation started. But we
Okay,
wanted
so
to
there's
make
that
sure going forward
voices.js file. I don't think that we really need to include that in source. And then there's this copy on the back end
that the mitigation
of
methods that were
this,
put into place that
which
informed
I think
our
is just a
mitigation
much
methods.
older
We
version
all
of
were
the
working
file.
off of that same model,
that
and
we
I want
don't
to make
really
it clear that those models, those flu models, have been incredibly helpful.
I'm going to leave it in
to
there,
really
but I'm just
predict what would layering of these different
Okay, so then we do
mitigation
git
efforts and social
commit
distancing,
dash
staying home if you're
m
sick,
added
staying in that household that had
command
quarantined everybody in
to
the household if anyone is
for
positive.
users
Now, there are other
who
countries that took different
permanently
approaches, and
set
I want to
their
be clear
accent.
because we did hear from both China and South Korea. But it's
Added
always
command
important that
to
you
list
adopt
accents.
and adapt and adapt it to your community and the reality of your country. We do this around the world. You can't ever just take an off-the-shelf approach and then put it into action in your community. You have to understand your communities. And so although both China and South Korea removed people who were positive from their households and segregated them away from their families, we did
come
not
over
think
here
that
and we
our
go
Americans would adopt and adapt to that situation. And so that's why in our guidelines we ask people if there is a family member to try to self-isolate in the household.
And we should now
so that
see
that person is still there in the household. So I just
all
wanted to be
those
clear
lovely
that,
new
yes, we all heard about what China and South
So now
Korea
it's all
did.
there on GitHub.
As much as we could, we adapted them to the American situation, as the UK has done also. And we just wanted to be really ensure that all of the requests for the stockpile reflected the great work that the American citizens were doing in each of these areas to ensure help. And then finally, I know there was a question about requiring quarantine. I want to make sure that everyone understood when we talked about New York residents who had gone to other places, it was for them to voluntarily self-isolate and take care of themselves because we felt like they could be exposed. And we really wanted to alert them that the rates in New York City were high and were increasing.
So
and
see, there's this, I need to sign
the
in.
most exposure time period before the mitigation efforts went in.
wrong.
So this was really about a health of our New York citizens that then chose to go to other places, both to protect themselves and to protect others. So hopefully that's clear to everyone about those issues. We continue to look at the data every day, applaud the laboratory testing that is helping us. It will help us very much when we can get full surveillance up in many of our communities. And
Winston's mom
surveillance
says
around
huzzah.
those most vulnerable, particularly in nursing homes and long-term care facilities, so that we can more rapidly test both the workers and the occupants in those communities. Thank you.
Winston's mom says Gary Rich had a good point when he asked me why wasn't I trading yet. I should take advantage of this time to build a Sims page and try to play along. In June, I will get my Social Security early.
Oh, there you go. Well, I would definitely start practicing because it's hard and it takes a really long time, right? So I would get your software together
and I'm not a supply person. I'm a physician, a scientist, and I do vaccines and I do drugs, but I am a member of the task force, and I do take very seriously the responsibility that we have to those individuals to get them the material that they need. We've heard discussions about this, ventilators, personal protective equipment, masks,
automated
and things like that.
security.
They are doing an amazing job up there, and I just want to have a message
So
to them,
here,
which I told them over the phone,
this robot
that
has
as a member
suggested
of the
that I
task force
update
with my colleagues here,
this
we're going
package
to do
that I
everything we can to make sure that they get everything they need at the time that they need that, because they are doing an amazing job up there, and I salute them. Thank you.
And there was another one.
We'll take a few questions.
John, just a quick one to Dr. Burks.
Yes, please.
I asked you, I think it was about 8 or 9 days ago, about the data from all these tests, and you had suggested that there would soon be a website where we would see all the data. Are we closer to that? When do you expect that? Do you have any data to give us tonight? 'Cause as far as I can tell, this has not been publicly released yet.
Yeah, no, thank you.
So now I
I've
can
learned
come back
as
and I
Tony
can
has
pull those
described, we've
skip
learned that when a community is educated, we all do better together, and so it's important to
And
get
then
that
I think that
information
we have
out
to
when we start
do
talking about where the virus
NPM
is,
update.
what the percent positives are, and really inform communities so that they can make decisions, so that people can take protective measures for themselves and for their families. And I find that it's important, yes, for us to have the data, but it's equally important for the state and local governments as well as the communities. We are still, because we worked very hard to get it into the first bill, but it was changed to state and local labs, and obviously 95% of all the tests are being done in the commercial labs.
Now
So in this
back over
recent
here,
bill
just
that was
start everything
just
back up
approved,
again. Oh wait,
it
just
is
uncheck
mandated that all commercial labs need to report. And so you'll have that data when we get the data comprehensively from all
Are
the
you
commercial
in
labs.
Acorn last year?
Well,
I
it was
suggested my
passed
son he
today,
build an account
so
with them, and
hopefully
he
we'll
did.
expect
Acorn
it
is
tomorrow.
Ashton Kutcher's
One
mutual
more
fund. He's
question.
a good starting fund to learn. No, I've never heard of that before. No, it's just the name of some package that is.
Standard here. Are you going to need to test people who are well, or only people who are obviously, let's say,
Okay, so everything seems to work. So
come in.
So
and
what
test
happened is a
positive on
robot
their own. They
looks
may
out
still be
there and
viable.
it looks in my
What is your
repository,
standard in order to
and
make
it
these
can come into this
recommendations?
file here,
So I'm glad you asked because
and
the
it can
important
say,
thing about
"Oh,
testing, it only tells you if you're positive or negative.
he's
for that
using
thing.
this thing and this thing.
You could become
You
positive
should
the
use
next
this
day.
newer
And
version of
so
it."
testing
And
can
so
be
it
used
created the pull
intentionally
request,
as
and
a
then I pulled it down.
surveillance
Now
tool
anybody
or
can
a
come in and they
diagnostic
could
tool.
modify the
I think
robot
what
and
we're
add
gonna
features
work
to it,
on over
and
the
then submit
weekend
the
is
pull
to
request.
weave together both a testing strategy
Not
for
bad.
surveillance, which
Not
you
bad.
have brought up in that key point, while maintaining a strong testing for diagnosis, because our first obligation is still to ensure that patients get diagnosed, both so that the personal protective equipment for those who are
Now
negative
there's this other thing which
doesn't
is
have to
like
be
the
utilized,
settings.
but also to give those
I'm
patients the
going to
opportunity to have
copy,
optimal care. And I think Dr. Fauci
paste,
mentioned this a few minutes ago. The things we have learned over the last just 3 months
settings,
was a lot of
sample.
information about how best to ventilate patients. I think that has been shared across communities and across
edit that one with
clinicians
Notepad.
around the
Just
globe. We never
this stuff in
previously
here,
had an
so you
experience
don't
where
wanna
a lot of
commit
people
that
had to be ventilated prone. So this kind of information that has been shared has been critical to improve the survival of the patients that we have in the United States of America. And we really want to applaud the countries who've been giving all of us that information and
then-
sharing it across the clinical network.
One quickly to Dr. Fauci, if I could. Dr. Fauci, Sunday will mark 1 month since the first death from this new disease. I wanted to ask you a bit of a philosophical question. I've known you for 25 years. You've been through HIV, AIDS, MERS, SARS, West Nile virus, Ebola, all of that. How has this nation changed since that first death 1 month ago?
Well, this is truly an unprecedented situation that we're going through. As you mentioned correctly, John, I have been
And
through
I'll
everything
also
from
just
the
back
very
this
beginning
up
of the very
just to
uncertain
be
days
sure.
with HIV/AIDS. Cumulatively, if you look at what's
Get
happened with
RM
HIV/AIDS over the 38 years that we've had it, the burden and the suffering and the death
Where
has
is
been
it?
enormous, historic.
Backend.
But it came over a period
Get
of time. There was the
RM,
fright in the beginning. What we're seeing now
settings.js.
in actual real time is something that's unprecedented. This is something that we have never seen before, at least in our generation. They've seen something maybe like this back 100 years ago.
Cache.
And we're really being challenged to not only learn in real time, to be able to respond
Then get
in a way that
add
is helpful
backend
and effective.
settings.
But we're also in uncharted waters. And I think that's the thing that I find different, is that the waters are uncharted so that it isn't as if we have an example of how to do it. You know, we have an extraordinary confrontation on the health and the welfare of the globe, particularly, you know, for us here in the United States. So as somebody who's been through all of those outbreaks, this truly is unprecedented. So from the first day to now, the first death, we've been through something that no one has ever experienced in our generation.
Let me say good evening to each one of you. I
Sample
trust this was helpful.
settings.
We'll continue to keep you informed. Over the course of the weekend, the president will be traveling to Norfolk for the embarkation of the U.S. Navy ship Comfort. Our task force will be meeting through the course of the weekend, and we'll be reviewing the data and preparing recommendations for the American people going forward. But thank you all for your time and attention.
Secretary Perdue.
It was thorough.
Secretary Perdue.
The package lock JSON file is different. Let's see here. Discarding local changes permanently to a file. Get checkout dash. Which file was it again? Package lock on JSON. There we go. Git push. Where was it saying that? Git stash. Git push. Oh, git pull. Merge package log file. Save. Close. Git push.
Rocky Mountain Power customers. Rocky Mountain Power is raising their rates every single year, but you can stop it. By getting solar installed at no cost to you, it'll make your meter run backwards. Now what that will do for you is give you a credit on your bill, so you never have to pay Rocky Mountain Power ever again. You'll start saving $100, $200, or even $500 per month. Plus, you'll get paid thousands of dollars from the federal government for going solar this year. Now this program does expire soon. It's going away completely. So if you'd like to be one of the few people who gets solar at no cost to you.
Nobody wants to hear that. And here's our app file. Everything looks good. I guess just one more time. Oh, did I close it? Wait, did it delete the app file? Wait, what? Sarc app.js. No. Oh, that's because that's not the right way to do it. Okay. I'm gonna open it, click it the way that I normally do, and make sure that it starts correctly. Okay. Events.js 174. Wait, what? Let's close that. I think that it, yeah, close that. And sometimes Node will like still be running in back here or something. So it just, there you go. Die. Okay. Let's try that again. Better work this time. Server, YouTube ready. Stuff. Excellent. Oh, the power, what could I ask? Sexy French robot voice to do for us? Yeah. Well, like for instance, you could probably. Oh, you know what? You know what? That's wrong. That's not going to work. That's not going to work at all. I have to change this. I have to change this script. Edit with Notepad. Save. There was the whole thing that whenever you edit a file within the directory structure, it tries to restart it. And since it's editing its own files, at some point, I'm guessing that I'm going to have to change it over to a database. Better. Okay. All the junk from this session. That's funny. Test.
Speculator Seth says test.
All right. Cool. It all works. I think we're all good. So on here, what do I have in the README AM? Okay, ambient start. Oh. That probably needs to all be changed. Wow. I probably looked at that last time and was like, I'm not messing with that. and I would need to write a little bit wider of a guide. I'd need to like reinstall it on a different machine to figure out how to make it work. But it does work. Man, it is hot. I need to open up the door. All right. Well, hey, thanks for chilling with me when it is time to go. So I will see you all on Monday. And in the meantime,